you and properly say thank you for believing in me.
The goal of the initiative is to transform federal prisons into safe and effective facilities that will reduce recidivism and strengthen our communities and the economy. While the administration is tough on crime, it believes in giving those like Alice, who have paid their debt to society, a second chance.
Jared, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I know this is such an important issue to you. We met Alice Johnson, and she's such an incredible person. What made you want to sit down and do this interview?
The story of Alice is a story that touched the president. It's touched me, and I think it's touched a lot of people throughout the country. Through her story, a lot of people got to see a real window into how the criminal justice system, it's a great system, but it's far from perfect, and there are people who get caught up in it and who have the ability to change and who can live a second life and do great things, but they're held and held for their past mistakes in a way that's not necessarily fair.
Yeah, how did you hear about her story? Walk us through the whole process.
So I originally got a call from Kim Kardashian. We'd met before in the past at different events, and she said she had a case that she was interested in, and so she sent me the video and some information. I said, okay, well, let me look at it. It seemed like one that was deserving of consideration, but there's always somebody who will advocate for it and say it's deserving of consideration, and then you go back in deeper, and there's always a much worse situation or more nuance that's not covered in it. Right. But this case really seemed to be one that was very deserving. So I brought in some of the White House lawyers. We spoke to the Department of Justice. We got more information on the case. And at that point, I thought it was a case that was worthy to bring to the president. So I brought it to the president, and I shared with him the pros and the cons. I explained to him the crime and what had happened at the time. But then I also shared her extraordinary track record in prison. He was very touched by the fact that she had a letter from the warden recommending that she be considered for clemency, and then also the fact that she was such a good mentor to so many of the other inmates.
We hear a lot about criminal justice reform. We hear a lot about the First Step Act. What specifically is that?
Sure. So what the First Step Act does is it makes our prison system more purposeful. It takes our federal system and it takes inmates who are nonviolent offenders, people who have a lower risk of committing a crime in the future, and we give them a risk assessment program. So we take every inmate based on the data available, and we say, what is their risk of committing a crime in the future? Then what we do is we look at what are the things that we can do for them while they're here to lower that risk in the future. And it's very basic things. It's job training, family reunification, drug treatment, making sure that they don't have addiction problems, mental health treatment where appropriate, and then figuring out skills and mentorship so that when they leave, they can figure out how to lead better lives. And we incentivize them to take these programs by giving them the ability to earn their way to a quicker release to supervised custody.
What do you say to the critics that are against this?
So I've met so many people now who are the biggest champions of the reform who started out as critics of the reform. And I would just tell people to keep an open mind, look at the data, and to meet people like Alice Johnson and to spend time understanding the issue.
I know it's hard when you go through a hard time. You don't understand why God's allowing this to happen in your life. Many people experience that. I'm sure you did when your dad was incarcerated. I know you visited him almost every weekend and said it was unfair, his treatment. Do you look back at that situation now and think, I'm glad we went through that as a family because it allowed me to have compassion for other people?
I look at where I am today, where I'm able to serve the president and work in the White House. This is the last place I ever thought I would be. You go from visiting a family member in prison to working in the White House within a decade, and that's a pretty dramatic shift in life. And so I do believe that it's because of God's grace and the fact that there's a bigger plan. And look, that experience that I had in my life at the time seemed like something that I didn't understand why it was happening, but I didn't put my energy towards being angry. I didn't put my energy towards being bitter. I used it towards growth. It helped me become stronger, and it helped me put my energy towards productive things. And I think that that's been the attitude I've had ever since.
So, Jared, what was it like to sit next to Alice at the State of the Union address and meet her and see the video of her coming across the street in the arms of her family?
We're just very proud of her. We're proud of the work she's doing, and I do hope that it serves for a lesson to all the other people who are in prison that you should have hope, and all the people coming out of prison that you carry the burden for you of being an example to other people, and that everyone's watching. And Alice has definitely been one of the leaders of that movement, and she's opened a lot of people's hearts and she's opened a lot of people's minds to this issue. So for Alice, we're very proud of you, and just keep doing great things and live your life.
S-U-V. These letters used to mean something. Letters earned in backwoods, high hills, and steep dunes. But somewhere along the way, SUVs became pretenders, not pioneers. But you never forgot the difference, and neither did we. There are many SUVs, but there's only one legend. Hurry in now to the Jeep Celebration event and get $500 additional bonus cash on select models.
Excuse me. Do you mind being a motor?
What could be better than being a motor? The real question is, do you mind not being a motor?
I do. For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
Rachel and Bill moved to a simpler life. But simple got complicated. Luckily, they moved and stored with Pods, who brought back just enough for their new addition. Pods, the right move for your move.
The Lexus ES. Every curve, every innovation, every feeling. A product of mastery.
Lease the 2019 ES 350 for $379 a month for 36 months.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
President Trump on the next revolution.
We're changing laws as rapidly as we can get them through the courts.
Steve goes inside policy with the president. Watch the exclusive interview tonight.
At Aztec Plumbing and Drains, we know that brave men and women in uniform have risked their lives to keep our country safe.
That's why we're proud to offer a 10% discount for all veterans and active members of the military.
It's the least we can do for those who have answered the call to serve our country.
To all the men and women of the armed forces, Aztec Plumbing and Drains would like to say thank you for your service.
Wow! Yeah! There we go.
This Memorial Day, start your summer off right. This Memorial Day.
I'm going to go and get a Chevy.
Current qualified competitive lessees can lease this Chevy Equinox for around $189 a month. See your Southwest Florida Chevy dealers.
At FPL, we've made your electric grid the most intelligent grid in America. And it's working. Reliability is up and millions of outages have been avoided. So we can keep your life on. See how at fpl.com/reliability.
Announcing the Hyundai Memorial Day sales event, a kickoff this summer filled with enormous savings, including 0% APR for 72 months on select models. Like the perfectly sized Kona, named the 2019 North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. Hurry into your local Hyundai dealer during the Memorial Day sales event and see why the longer you look, the more there is to like. Now lease an Elantra for only $179 a month, or get up to $2,750 cash back. Hurry in today.
At FPL, we've made your electric grid the most intelligent grid in America. And it's working. Reliability is up and millions of outages have been avoided. So we can keep your life on. See how at fpl.com/reliability.
Cooked meal. Today, she works to free inmates who are also remorseful and have paid their debt to society.
What was it like when you found out she was getting to come home? She was going to be out of prison.
Oh, man. I was on the phone with my older sister, and she was like, I just got a text from Al Sharpton camp saying that congratulations on your mom's release. And I was like, huh? What? And I said, CNN, let's turn on the news. Let's turn on some news. Anybody? And we're flipping through the channels, and on every channel, Fox, CNN, ABC. I'm like, oh my God. I was doing this horse trot through the house, and I'm on the phone with her. I said, no. I said, you know what? I'm going to call the lawyer to check first. Let's check. This might not be true. And I called Jennifer. Jennifer Turner with ACLU. And as soon as she picked up the phone, she's screaming. It's like, oh my God, this is true.
How old were you when your mom went to prison? And
I was 24.
That? 24 when she went to prison. What was that experience like for you?
It was extremely, extremely depressing, and just, you couldn't believe it. My mouth dropped in court. I was in court every day. And I'm thinking, these people cannot believe these people. This don't even sound real to me. And I'm in that house. This part, what they're saying, all this stuff couldn't have happened. And I'm like, they can't be guilty.
How does that feel? Like your hands are tied. There's nothing you can do. It's the law.
It's just, it's no way to even really describe that feeling, because your heart just literally sinks into your stomach. That's not, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but especially my mother. I'm like, I'll take her place before I allow her to go. And that was the worst.
I know when your mom was released in June, there was one car.
And the lawyer said, you can go get your mother. I called everybody, we can go. We meeting up, and my aunts left from here, and I just ended up meeting them on the highway because I'm rolling. And my brother was behind me, and we're flying down the highway. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm getting all these phone calls from media, and I'm like, I can't think straight right now. I just want to go get my mom. And we had to park our car on the side of the road, and then I got in the van with my brother and my daughter.
Because they only allowed one car to go in to pick her up.
Only one.
But the whole family was lined up basically outside.
Yes, we were lined up. They were lined up. And so we got there, and we pulled on a lot, and all you can see before we can even park good is my mom coming out of the building. And I'm trying to pull my phone. I'm like, I forgot to hit record, so nothing was recorded. But luckily, my sister-in-law recorded it.
Oh, good.
And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe she's walking out those doors.
Grew up singing. We would love for y'all to sing for us.
Let it be known that this has been a faith walk.
Yes.
And we have come this far by faith.
God's grace.
We come this far by faith. Oh, leaning on the Lord. I was trusting in His holy word. I know He never failed me yet.
Beneath the far side of a mountain, swallow sky, as you travel through the valley, as you're speeding.
The 2019 Infiniti QX50. Luxury should be lived in. Lease the all-new Infiniti QX50 for $379 a month.
As a financial advisor, I tell my clients not to worry about changing their minds in retirement. You may have always imagined your dream car as something fast. Then one day you decide it just needs to be safe enough to get her to college and back.
Principal, we can help you plan for that.
Need a change of scenery? Kayak searches hundreds of travel sites and filters by cabin class, Wi-Fi, and more, so you can be confident you're getting the right flight at the best price. Kayak. Search one and done.
If you have moderate to severe psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Ready to treat differently with a pill? Otezla. Show more of you.
Every day, visionaries are creating the future. So every day, we put our latest technology and unrivaled network to work. The United States Postal Service makes more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country.
And targets weeds more precisely. It lets you kill what's bad right down to the root while guarding the good. Roundup Sure Shot Wand. Got weeds in your grass too? Try Roundup for lawns. Kills weeds, not the lawn. Roundup brand. Trusted for over 40 years.
Nutrition can seem overwhelming. Even if you try to eat well, you might fall short in key nutrients. Get more by adding one a day. It's the #1 multivitamin uniquely designed for men and women. One pill, once a day. One a day, and done.
Wow! Yeah! There we go.
This Memorial Day, start your summer off right in a new Chevrolet.
Oh, wow. It's time to upgrade. You guys outdid yourself there.
I'm going to go and get a Chevy.
An exciting summer begins at your Chevy dealer. And now during the Chevy Memorial Day sales event, get 0% financing for 72 months on these select Chevy models. Or current GM owners can get $3,250 total cash allowance on this Colorado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Fox Nation is the ultimate companion to Fox News. And if you hurry, you can get your first month for 99 cents. Exclusive content, 99 cents. Your favorite Fox News personalities, 99 cents. Big events like our first ever Fox Nation Summit, just 99 cents. But hurry, this limited time.
Evening, everyone, and welcome to The Next Revolution. I'm Steve Hilton, and this is the home of positive populism. Pro-worker, pro-family, pro-community. And what a treat we have for you tonight. Last week, I had the tremendous honor of sitting down with the President at the White House. And we had a great conversation about a wide range of policy issues, about politics in the next election, and some fascinating personal insights into life at the White House and his response to the criticisms of how he does the job. It's a side of the President you don't often see. And we didn't want to cut it down or chop it up. Tonight we're devoting the whole hour to my conversation with President Trump, and you don't want to miss a minute of it. And we want you to join the conversation. Follow us at Steve Hilton X and at NextRevFNC and let us know what you think. I started with the big policy news of the week, the President's new immigration plan. Take a look. Mr. President, great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Steve.
So much going on. I want to start with your new immigration plan.
Yes.
Just tell us what you're aiming to achieve with that.
Well, really, very simply, we have companies coming in here, as you know, by the dozens and by the hundreds, and big ones, car companies. Honda's coming in with $14.5 billion. We have a tremendous amount of very, very top of the line. And they're coming back. We need people. We need people. And our unemployment now is down to 3.6, and I think it's going a lot lower. We're doing really well. I want to make sure that anybody that comes into our country comes in through merit. You know that very well. I watch your show all the time. And we want it coming in through merit. That's what we have to have. We can't do the other. It's just not possible. And what we want to do is put up a very strong border. We'll have, by the end of next year, 450 to 500 miles built of the water wall, of the wall itself and the border wall. And it's imperative. You know, I read so much where the Democrats like to say, you don't need, we're going to have drones flying around. You have thousands of people. The drone doesn't do a thing. So the wall is being built as we speak. We'll have close to 500 miles done by the end of next year, which is really something, and that'll have a big impact. And we're changing laws as rapidly as we can get them through the courts. But you know better than anybody, we're fighting a court system. We're fighting the Democrats. The Democrats want open border. That means crime. And we have great crime statistics, but they'd be even better if we didn't have, you know, all of this coming in between the drugs and many of the wrong people, people that have records, people that have criminal records. So we're making very sure that those people don't get in. We're taking tremendous numbers of them out. And all of this is in a very comprehensive plan. And it'll go before Congress. It's going to have tremendous Republican support. I hope we can get enough Democrat support to get it passed.
So you think this actually has a chance of happening?
Well, I think there's tremendous pressure on many of the Democrats to get something passed, in areas where I won by a lot and then somebody got in as in the House, in particular in the House, so they control the House. But there's a lot of seats where they're, very inclined toward me. And this time I'm running as opposed to just watching.
Because a lot of people are saying that what they've heard about this plan is that it's designed really to get the Republicans all together. They don't really expect the Democrats to get behind it.
No, we expect that. Look, you can't say you expect anything. The one thing I will say, they have lousy policy. In many cases, they're lousy politicians. But you know what? They stick together. And you go throughout history, for whatever reason, the Democrats stick together. And the Republicans don't stick the same way as the Democrats do. And I don't say that as a positive. I say that as a negative. The Democrats do stick together. So if they decide, I guess leadership decides that they don't want to have it, then we're going to have a continuation. But we've gotten very tough on the border. We're letting, we have a catch and release where you catch and then you have to, by law, release. Or you have to take them to a court. Nobody has a court system. What country has a court system where somebody walks into the country?
Right.
Other countries, they take them out.
So does this new plan have details in it that would change that?
Tremendous details. It's got a very fair asylum system. The asylum system is a disaster. Right now, they read a statement handed to them by a lawyer, and then you're supposed to take them in. A lawyer hands them a statement, and they read the statement. Right. They come in and they say, we fear to be in our country. But then you see they were the people online, they're carrying the flag of their country, whether it's Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador.
So you got the asylum.
It's a big con, Steve, to be honest with you. It's a disgraceful thing. It could be fixed in 15 minutes if the Democrats would agree.
And the big thing about it is the change in terms of people coming in, whether from wherever in the world, but for merit. That's the key point.
The biggest thing is you come in through merit and you come in legally. Two things. You have to come in legally and you have to come in through merit.
And one thing that people have speculated about was that it might include E-Verify. Is that going to be in the...
So E-Verify is going to be possibly a part of it. The one problem is E-Verify is so tough that in some cases, like farmers, they're not equipped for E-Verify. I mean, I say this against Republicans. A lot of the Republicans say you go through an E-Verify. I used it when I built the hotel down the road on Pennsylvania Avenue. I use a very strong E-Verify system. And we would go through 28 people, 29, 30 people before we found one that qualified.
Right.
So it's a very tough thing to ask a farmer to go through that. So in a certain way, I speak against myself, but you also have to have a world of some practicality.
So when people hear that, some of the people, if you like, who are most they're described as the restrictionists, the people who really want to kind of cut immigration to practically nothing. They hear that and they say, well, this plan was written by Jared Kushner and he's a globalist and it's all letting people in. What do you say to those? Many of them will be your supporters who are nervous about it.
Steve, this is not a globalist plan. I wanted this to be very, very strong. We did judicial reform. You saw what we did there, and a lot of people liked it, both conservative and liberal. That was probably the closest you could say to bipartisan. And because a lot of it was unfair. And by the way, it's very tough. We have Chuck Grassley in support of it. Mike Lee is in support of it. Some of the strongest conservatives. And at the same time, we have some people with pretty liberal leanings. But this is really not. This is the least globalist. All it is very simple. Strong border, very strong border. And, by that time, we'll have the wall built, too. But strong border, and you have to come in if you're going to come in through merit, so that all these companies that are moving into the United States can use the people where they can help, as we say, make America great again, right? So that's what it's all about.
Great. All right.
Thank you.
Let's talk about China.
Go ahead.
Huge, huge issue. I want to start with actually a small but really important part of it, the human part of it.
Right.
A lot of people watching, farmers, are going to be very worried. Just tell us what you're proposing to do to help the farmers who may be hurt in the short term.
Good. First of all, I love the farmers. They voted for me. You look at the middle of this country, it's all red, meaning Republican, right? It's all, and it wasn't for other Republicans, but for me it was. And we have a great relationship. And even now, the farmers are saying, look, everybody knows that China's been ripping off the United States, along with almost every other country, in all fairness. And we're changing it pretty rapidly. You see what's happening. But the big one is China. We have a trade deficit with China of $500 billion. That's not even conceivable. And we've had it for years, and it goes up and it goes down, but it's from 200 to 500 and 600 billion dollars a year, not million, $billion a year. And somebody had to do something about it. And we pretty much had a deal. It was a strong deal, and I told President Xi, who's somebody I like a lot, but he's for China and I'm for us, right? But I told him, I said, look, this can't be like a 50-50 deal. This has to be a deal. You're so far ahead from presidents that allowed you to get away. This can't be a 50-50 deal. Anyway, we had a very strong deal. We had a good deal. And at the end, they changed it. And I said, that's okay. We're going to tariff their products. And we put a 25% tariff on their products. We actually started it about 9 months ago, and we've been collecting 25% on $50 billion of mostly technology. And then we have $200 billion that it was 10% and was supposed to go to 25, but because they were negotiating in what I thought was good faith, I let it be 10%, and I didn't, well, 2 days ago I made it 25. So they're paying $200 billion. Now, from China's standpoint, it's not good because all of these companies, many of these companies that are paying the tariff are moving to Vietnam and other places in Asia.
I think, by the way, that's the point that's lost in all this. So people say, oh, well, it's not the Chinese government that's paying the tariffs. And they say, well, you're not being straight about that.
It hurts China so bad.
Right, and especially that relocation of their supply chain. That's what they depend on.
Well, the bigger relocation is that you're going to have a lot of American, even if I said for 25% or even for 10%, you're going to have a lot of American companies now come out and they're going to build plants and make this product in the United States, which I like even better. I mean, you have two. Look, they could buy from China, in which case we take in tariffs. That's okay. It's not so bad. But a lot of companies already, you know, they move very fast in Asia. And a lot of these companies that are in China are now moving to all Asian countries where they don't have the tariffs. So really, you know, we have very smart people in this country. They'll be buying from different locations, but with the farmer, because I love the farmer. We are going to be taking in possibly $100 billion, possibly more than that in tariffs. We never took in 10 cents from China. They took advantage of us for many, many years. And I blame us. I don't blame them. I don't blame President Xi. I blame all of our presidents, and not just President Obama. You go back a long way. You look at President Clinton, Bush, everybody. They allowed this to happen. They created a monster. We rebuilt China because they get so much money. So what I'm going to do is, out of the $100+ billion, I said to my farm people, I said to Sonny Perdue's Department of Agriculture, Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny, what's the most money that China has ever paid toward agriculture, toward buying food product? He said $15 billion a number of years ago. I said, is that the most? He said, yes. Some people say closer to 20, but 15 billion was about the most. I said, good. I'm going to take $15 billion out of the $100 billion, and I'm going to give that to our farmers. Now, I don't have to give all of it.
Buy their product that they're not selling.
Well, I don't have to give all of it because they're going to be able to sell at a much lower price. So the difference between where they were and the lower price. So maybe if it's a $15 billion amount, they may end up getting 6 or 7 or 10 or whatever it is, but they'll be able to sell.
So you're compensating.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story. I met with farmers about 3 weeks ago. First of all, they are unbelievable patriots. They said, sir, we don't want a subsidy. We just want a level playing field. We also know that we're being killed by these countries, by many of the countries, not just China. China's just so much bigger than everybody else in terms of the dollars. But I said, what do you mean you don't want subsidy? You have to be kidding. Everybody that comes to see me, they all want a handout. You're the only ones that don't want it. They don't want it. All they want is a level. They just want to make a living like they have. One man said, I've been on my farm, my family, for 150 years. We don't want subsidy. We never had subsidy. We never want it. We just want a level playing field because nobody can beat us with a level playing field, and that's what I'm doing. But what I'm doing now is I'm helping them along during this period of time at the highest level, because I said I want to know what's the highest number. So I'm not taking them at a low level. So the farmers are going to be in great shape, and it's going to start taking place very soon.
I was going to ask that exact question. When can they expect to see something?
Well, we're now taking in billions of dollars in tariffs that we never took in. And then the big thing with the tariffs, we have $325 billion left over. Do I do that at 10% or 20 or 25%? That's tremendous amounts of money.
So I just want to ask you, what's your end game on this trade dispute? Is it that you want to sort of settle here? Would you be happy if it was just about the trade? How important is the technology theft, all of that stuff?
A lot of people won't be happy with this answer, but I'm very happy now. We're taking in billions of dollars. China is obviously not doing well like us. You know, since I've been here, since I've been president, we've made almost $10 trillion in wealth, and China has lost $10 trillion in wealth. They've lost a tremendous amount. They've gone, you know, they've had a, you see what's happening. Their economy is not great. Our economy has been fantastic. Because they were catching us. They were going to be bigger than us. If Hillary Clinton became president, China would have been a much bigger economy than us by the end of her term. And now it's not even going to be close.
So what do you think of that analysis? A lot of people look at what the statements of Chinese leaders, they've written it down in speeches and so on, and they say, look, China's got a clear plan. They want to replace the US as the superpower in 30 years' time.
Not going to happen with me.
But do you believe that that's their intention?
Yes, I do. I think that's their intention. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, they're very ambitious people. They're very smart. They're great people. It's a great culture, an amazing culture. You know, when I had President Xi, I was showing him the Lincoln bedroom and the White House, and I said, this was built in 1799. You know, I think of that as being really old. But to him, that's like a modern house, China.
Right.
Because they have 3,000 and 4,000-year-old places, right? But no, it's a great culture. It's an amazing culture with amazing people. And I like him a lot. But he's for China, and I'm for us. So there's a little bit of a conflict.
My exclusive conversation with President Trump is just getting started. Coming up, Iran, infrastructure, healthcare, Russia, Joe China, and more.
SUV. These letters used to mean something. Letters earned in backwoods, high hills, and steep dunes. But somewhere along the way, SUVs became pretenders, not pioneers. But you never forgot the difference, and neither did we. There are many SUVs, but there's only one legend. Hurry in now to the Jeep Celebration event and get $500 additional bonus cash on select models.
I switched to Liberty Mutual because they let me customize my insurance. And as a fitness junkie, I customize everything. Like my bike and my calves.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I had a heart problem. I was told to begin my aspirin regimen. I just didn't listen until I almost lost my life. My doctors, again, ordered me to take aspirin, and I do.
Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Listen to the doctor. Take it seriously.
So in this commercial, we see two travelers at a comfort inn with a glow around them. So people watching will be like, wow, maybe I'll glow too if I book direct at choicehotels.com.
Who glows? Just say bada book, bada boom.
Book now at choicehotels.com.
Hey, I'm Zach, CEO of Roman. Some health issues are tough to talk about. With Roman, you can go online, chat with a physician, and if treatment is right for you, we'll ship FDA-approved medication right to your door. Roman, let's take care of it.
Is he going back to the salad bar? It's endless ribs at Golden Corral. Blue ribbon smoked baby backs. And hickory bourbon grilled?
Ribs meet ribs.
Endless Ribs, Golden Corral, the only one for everyone.
What's going on up here?
Can't see what it is yet.
What is that? That's a Blazer? It's a Chevy Blazer?
Oh, this is dope.
This thing is beautiful.
I love the lights.
Oh man, it's got a mean face on it.
It looks like a piece of candy.
Look at the interior. This is nice.
This is my sexy mom car.
I would feel like a cool dad.
It's just really chic.
Love this.
It's gorgeous. I would pull up in this in a heartbeat. I want one of these.
That is sharp.
The all-new Chevy Blazer speaks for itself.
I don't know who they got to design this, but give them a cookie and a star.
The biggest issues, the controversies facing our nation.
You will not see this anywhere else.
Sean tackles them all, only on Hannity.
Did you know Comcast Business goes beyond fast with a gig speed network, complete internet reliability, advanced voice solutions, Wi-Fi to keep everyone connected, video monitor. That's huge. Did you guys know we did all this stuff?
No.
I'm not even done yet.
Wow.
business TV, cloud apps, and support.
Comcast Business goes beyond other providers. Start with fast, reliable internet for just $49.95 a month.
It's everything a small business owner needs.
Comcast Business, beyond fast.
Hey, Nicole, I've got great news.
I already know. It's the Lincoln Spring Sales Event at your main Lincoln of Naples.
Even better, you can drive the new MKC or MKZ for just $299 a month.
$299 a month for the MKC or MKZ?
That's right. And now through Memorial Day, all veterans receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash.
It's the Lincoln Spring Sales Event.
So hurry to Germain Lincoln of Naples or GermainLincoln.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Is the United States heading towards another Middle East showdown, this time with Iran? It's making big news this week, and it's one of the things I asked President Trump directly about in the Rose Garden. Let's move on to another hotspot, Iran,
right.
Middle East.
Right.
Tell us what your analysis is of what's going on right now.
Well, look, Iran's been a problem for so many years. If you go back, just take a look at all of the conflict that they've caused. And the deal that President Obama made was a horror show, the Iran nuclear deal, because basically it says that in 5 years from now, they're going to have an open path to making nuclear weapons. We don't need another country with that. And frankly, especially them. We don't need it. So he made this terrible deal, paid $150 billion, paid $1.8 billion in cash. That means cash, out of your pocket. Cash, green. Nobody's ever heard of a thing like that. I don't know if you've ever seen at a casino promotion $1 million in $100 bills. It's a lot of area. What's $1.8 billion like? So he paid all of this money, made a terrible deal. We don't have good inspection rights. We weren't even allowed to inspect some of the most important sites, like military bases, certain things, where they would do it. Okay. The deal was terrible. When I first came to office, one of the first meetings I had was at the Pentagon with generals, and they were showing me the Middle East. And they had 14 or 15 sites where there was nothing but war, problems. Every single one of those sites was instigated by Iran. It was Iran military, it was people paid by Iran. It was just, you have no idea. It was just, I said, this is terrible. They were so strong. I ended the Iran nuclear deal. And actually, I must tell you, I had no idea it was going to be as strong as it was. The country is devastated from the standpoint of the economy.
But now you see, the thing that I think a lot of people are worried about is that they heard what you said in 2016 and liked it when you said no more stupid wars. And then they hear these stories about troops and so on.
I just don't want them to have nuclear weapons. And they can't be threatening us. And you know, with all of everything that's going on, and I'm not one that believes, I'm not somebody that wants to go into war, because war hurts economies, war kills people, most importantly, by far most importantly. Right. I think that if you look, when I went to North Korea, there were nuclear tests all the time, there were missiles going up all the time. We had a very rough time, then we got along. We'll see what happens right now. Right now, I don't think I told them when I left Vietnam, where we had the summit, I said to Chairman Kim, and I think very importantly, I said, look, you're not ready for a deal, because he wanted to get rid of 1 or 2 sites, but he has 5 sites. I said, what about the other 3 sites? That's no good. We're going to make a deal. Let's make a real deal. But they haven't had any tests over the last 2 years. It's zero. There's a chart, and it shows 24 tests, 22 tests, 18 tests. Then I come, and once I'm there for a little while, we went through a pretty rough rhetorical period. But once I'm there for a little while, no tests, no tests, no tests. So let's see what happens.
So
but you cannot let Iran have nuclear weapons.
I want to read you something Lindsey Graham said.
Okay.
Your friend Lindsey Graham.
Yes.
He was in a magazine profile, and he reported on a conversation he had with you, and he said that you said to him, the trouble with you, Lindsey, is you want to invade everywhere except the places I want to invade.
Well,
so my question is, where does he want to invade? But more importantly, where do you want to invade?
I want to invade if I have to economically. We've created a much stronger country economically than when I took it over. When I took it over, we were heading south. Our GDP would have been very negative. Regulations didn't allow you to do. Yesterday, as you probably saw, I was in Louisiana, opening up a $10 billion LNG plant that would have never been approved under another type of administration, never. and now you have 10,000 people working there, $10 billion they invested. We have tremendous power economically. If I can solve things economically, that's the way I want it.
So you can reassure people you're not looking for some kind of conflict in Iran? And
well, I'm the one that talks about these wars that are 19 years and people are just there. And don't kid yourself, you do have a military-industrial complex. They do like war. You know, in Syria with the caliphate. So I wipe out 100% of the caliphate. That doesn't mean you're not going to have these crazy people going around blowing up stores and blowing up things. These are seriously ill people. I don't want to say, oh, they're wiped out, you know, ISIS. But I wiped out 100% of the caliphate. I say I want to bring our troops back home. The place went crazy. They want to keep, you have people here in Washington. They never want to leave. I say, you know what I'll do? I'll leave a couple of hundred soldiers behind. But if it was up to them, they'd bring thousands of soldiers in. Someday people will explain it.
Well, this is an example.
You do have a group, and they call it the military-industrial complex. They never want to leave. They always want to fight. No, I don't want to fight. But you do have situations like Iran. You can't let them have nuclear weapons. You just can't let that happen.
So that's an example, I think, of what people liked in 2016, where you didn't come over as a traditional Republican.
No, but I haven't changed.
And that...
Well, take a look.
That's what we talk about on our show, the popular. I just want to go through a couple of...
I gave the generals, I said, go ahead. You got 1 year. See what you can do in Afghanistan. So they fight and fight and fight. But, you know, we've taken it way down in Afghanistan. I don't know if you've seen that, Steve. We've taken it way down. Now, it's a rough place. It's a bad place. A lot of bad things happen. The World Trade Center bombers were sort of... That's like the Harvard University of terrorism, okay? If you want to be a terrorist, you go over there, okay? But, no, I have not changed.
After the break, President Trump weighs in on healthcare, working with Democrats, and has some interesting things to say about his chief of staff. Don't go away.
This recycling tip is brought to you by Subaru. What product takes up the most space in U.S. landfills? The answer after this commercial message.
How safe is the car you're considering? The 2019 Subaru Outback is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. The Honda CR-V is not. Sorry, Honda. Which SUV would make the best investment? The Subaru Outback has the best resale value in its class for 2019, according to Kelley Blue Book. Even better than the Toyota RAV4. Sorry, Toyota. It's easy to love a Subaru.
According to the U.S. EPA, the material most frequently encountered in landfills is plain old paper. It accounts for more than 40% of a landfill's contents. Paper should be recycled instead of sent to landfills.
This recycling tip is brought to you by Subaru. Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Hi, I'm Bob Harper, and I recently had a heart attack. It changed my life, but I'm a survivor. After my heart attack, my doctor prescribed Brilinta. It's for people who have been hospitalized for a heart attack.
Brilinta is taken with a low-dose aspirin, no more than 100 milligrams, as it affects how well Brilinta works. Brilinta helps keep platelets from sticking together and forming a clot. In a clinical study, Brilinta worked better than Plavix.
Brilinta reduced the chance of having another heart attack or dying from one.
Don't stop taking Brilinta without talking to your doctor, since stopping it too soon increases your risk of clots in your stent, heart attack, stroke, and even death. Brilinta may cause bruising or bleeding more easily, or serious, sometimes fatal bleeding. Don't take Brilinta if you have bleeding, like stomach ulcers, a history of bleeding in the brain, or severe liver problems. Slow heart rhythm has been reported. Tell your doctor about bleeding, new or unexpected shortness of breath, any planned surgery, and all medicines you take.
If you recently had a heart attack,
down your portfolio. Digital currencies like Bitcoin are the future. Go digital. Go Grayscale.
Fact, we all love video doorbells. Voice assistants have changed our lives. We now control our home with a touch. And you know what's better than all these things by themselves? All these things combined from the most trusted name in security, ADT.
Every day, visionaries are creating the future. So every day, we put our latest technology and unrivaled network to work. The United States Postal Service makes more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country.